What if I told you that the festive smiles we saw at Sandringham this morning might be hiding a much more somber reality? As the world watches King Charles lead the royal family for their traditional Christmas walk, a heavy question is hanging in the cold Norfolk air. Is this the last Christmas of its kind? While the official photos show a family united in tradition, insiders are whispering that this year feels different. There's a distinct sense of urgency behind the palace walls, with reports surfacing that the king is treating this holiday as a precious milestone rather than just another year on the calendar. After nearly 2 years of battling an undisclosed form of cancer, the monarch recently shared what he called good news, that his treatment would be reduced in the new year. But for many royal watchers, that announcement was bittersweet. You see, while reducing treatment sounds like a victory, some experts suggest it might actually signal a transition into a precautionary phase, where the focus shifts from active fighting to simply maintaining quality of life. Rumors have even begun to circulate about a secret contingency plan being finalized behind closed doors, a strategy for a semi-regency that would see Prince William taking over the heavy lifting as early as 2026. But the king isn't the only one under the microscope today. Did you notice the way the family positioned themselves during the walk, or the specific choice of location for the king's annual speech? This year, he broke a massive protocol by filming his message at Westminster Abbey instead of a palace, a location historically reserved for coronations and burials. Is he sending a message about his legacy, or is he quietly preparing the public for a changing of the guard? And perhaps most intriguing of all was a subtle, almost hidden detail in what Kate Middleton chose to wear this morning, a choice that some believe was a coded signal to her doctors and the world. But to understand what's really going on with the princess, we have to look closer at a coat that has a haunting history. If you looked closely at the Princess of Wales during the walk to St. Mary Magdalene this morning, you might have noticed she wasn't wearing the typical festive reds or vibrant greens we've come to expect. Instead, Kate stepped out in a stunning, bespoke brown tartan coat by Blaise Milano. On the surface, it looked like a classic choice for a cold Norfolk morning, perfectly coordinated with Princess Charlotte's own earth-toned outfit. But for those who have followed Kate's journey over the last year, that coat carries a much deeper, almost emotional weight. You see, this isn't just a random piece of high-end fashion. This is the full circle coat. The last time the public saw Kate in this exact garment was back in January 2025, on a day that changed everything. It was the coat she wore for her very first solo engagement of the year, a poignant visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital. That visit wasn't just a royal duty, it was a homecoming of sorts. It was the same hospital where she had quietly undergone her cancer treatments throughout 2024. Standing outside those hospital doors in this very same brown tartan, Kate made the announcement the world had been praying for. She was officially in remission. By choosing to wear it again today, on Christmas Day, she's sending a silent but powerful message. It's a sartorial thank you to the doctors who saved her and a signal to the public that she is stepping into 2026 with a clean slate. But there's a layer of mystery here that the tabloids are already picking up on. Despite the remission status, eagle-eyed onlookers noticed that Kate seemed to be moving at a slightly slower pace today. During the traditional walkabout, she actually lost the rest of her family because she spent so much time chatting with well-wishers. While she joked to the crowd, "I seem to have lost my family," some insiders wonder if the physical toll of the last year is still weighing on her more than the palace wants to admit. Rumors are even swirling that this Christmas marks the beginning of a great reset for the Wales family. They've recently moved into their new forever home, Forest Lodge in Windsor, a secluded fortress designed specifically for her continued recovery and privacy. Is the brown coat a sign of victory, or a quiet reminder that her health journey is still a daily conversation behind closed doors? As Kate lingered behind to speak with the public, Prince William was seen casting a few frequent glances back at his wife. Was it simple affection, or a husband's underlying concern for a wife who is pushing herself to keep up appearances? The answer might lie in the guest list for this afternoon's lunch, because while the core four are front and center, some very prominent seats at the Sandringham table have been left cold and empty this year. As the royal family sat down for their traditional Christmas lunch today, the table at Sandringham looked a little more exclusive than usual. While the public sees a united front during the morning walk, the guest list behind closed doors tells a much more tactical story. This year, it wasn't just about who was there, it was about the deafening silence of those who weren't. The most glaring absence, of course, was the man now known simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Just 2 months ago, King Charles made the world-shaking decision to officially strip his younger brother of every remaining royal title and honor. Today, as the king led the family to church, Andrew was nowhere to be found. Sources say he's spending this Christmas in a state of internal exile at Royal Lodge, surrounded by packing boxes. With a firm eviction deadline of January 31st looming over him, this is his final, lonely holiday in the 30-room mansion before he's moved to a much more modest property on the Sandringham estate. But here's where it gets interesting. While Andrew was barred from the inner sanctum, his daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, made a surprise appearance that no one saw coming. Speculation had been reaching a fever pitch that the sisters would snub the king's invite to stay with their disgraced father. Instead, they chose to walk directly behind Princess Anne, a move many are calling a public defection from Team Andrew. By showing up at Sandringham while their father was shut out, they've signaled a cold, hard truth. In the new reign of King Charles, loyalty to the crown comes before loyalty to blood. And the absences didn't stop there. Queen Camilla's children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez, who were the stars of the guest list last year, were also missing from the table today. Tom recently revealed that they've moved to a 1-year on, 1-year off schedule. While some see this as a healthy family boundary, others suggest it's a strategic move by the king to streamline the monarchy and avoid the appearance of a crowded, taxpayer-funded palace. Of course, we can't talk about empty seats without mentioning the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It's now been 7 years since Harry and Meghan shared a Christmas cracker at Sandringham. Despite rumors that the king's health battle might lead to a holiday truce, the Sussex silence was absolute today. Insiders claim that Prince William was the strongest voice against an invitation, fearing that even a brief appearance would turn the day into a media circus and overshadow the family's message of stability. So, with the guest list smaller than ever, the atmosphere inside Sandringham House has shifted from a sprawling family reunion to a tightly controlled corporate retreat. But don't think for a second that a smaller group means a more relaxed afternoon. In fact, for those who did make the cut, the rules have become even more intense, including a bizarre weighing ritual that would make most holiday guests run for the hills. If you think your family's holiday schedule is tight, wait until you hear about the ironclad rules King Charles enforced at Sandringham this morning. Today, December 25, 2025, isn't just a day of celebration for the Windsors. It's a high-stakes operation where every second is accounted for. And if you're a guest at the king's table, the pressure starts before you even take a bite of turkey. According to royal biographer Robert Jobson, there is one unspoken rule that looms over every attendee. There is no grace period. If you are late for a scheduled event, even by 60 seconds, you are effectively invisible to the proceedings. But the most bizarre and, frankly, uncomfortable tradition is one that sounds like it belongs in a Victorian novel, the antique jockey scales. This custom dates back to the king's great-great-grandfather, Edward VII. The legend goes that the king was so obsessed with his guests' enjoyment that he insisted they be weighed on arrival and again before they left Sandringham. The goal? To prove they had gained at least 3 pounds from the excessive royal feasting. While most people spend Christmas trying not to look at the scale, the royals are reportedly expected to step onto those antique scales as a matter of duty. While it's framed as a light-hearted piece of history, insiders have whispered for years that it's a nightmarish experience for some. We know from past reports that this specific tradition deeply distressed Princess Diana during her time at Sandringham. Today, as Kate Middleton continues her recovery journey, many are questioning if Charles has finally softened this invasive rule, or if the King of Protocol is doubling down on tradition to maintain a sense of order. And the weigh-in is just the beginning. Once you've stepped off the scales, you are officially on the clock. The schedule is so rigid that the family has already been to church twice today. Once for a private, secret service at dawn away from the cameras, and then again for the public walk we all saw. Even the relaxed moments are timed. After the massive Christmas lunch, which, by the way, features a menu so traditional it hasn't changed in decades, the family is permitted an afternoon walk. But don't expect a leisurely stroll. The timer is set to exactly 5 p.m. That is the hard deadline for afternoon tea. If you aren't back and changed into your next outfit by the time the tea is poured, you've broken the ultimate royal taboo. Some say Prince William is growing tired of this performative precision. Rumors suggest he's pushing to modernize these dusty rituals once he takes the throne, wanting a Christmas that feels more like a home and less like a military parade. But for now, under King Charles, the Sandringham clock is ticking louder than ever, and as the family settles in for their tea, a new mystery is brewing, one involving a secret musical tribute and a move that has the palace neighbors talking. If you were watching the Royal Carols Together at Christmas broadcast last night, you witnessed something that hasn't happened in the history of the modern monarchy. For years, we've known Kate as a talented pianist, but last night, she shared the bench. In a stunning pre-recorded segment from the Inner Hall at Windsor Castle, the Princess of Wales and 10-year-old Princess Charlotte performed a soul-stirring piano duet. They played Home Sound by Scottish composer Erland Cooper, a piece inspired by nature and connection. But look closer at the footage. This wasn't just a cute mother-daughter moment for the cameras. Sources close to the palace say this musical duel has become a daily ritual in their household. Kate has reportedly been using these sessions as a form of music therapy during her recovery, and Charlotte has become her most dedicated partner. World-renowned pianist Lang Lang even revealed that Kate has been pushing Charlotte to practice, telling her, "If you work hard, you can be a pro." But where exactly are these practice sessions happening? That leads us to the biggest royal move of 2025. Just weeks ago, the family officially left the cramped 4-bedroom Adelaide cottage and moved into their true forever home, Forest Lodge. Hidden deep within Windsor Great Park, Forest Lodge is an 8-bedroom Georgian mansion that is being described as a fortress of healing. But the move hasn't been without major controversy. To ensure Kate's total privacy during her ongoing health journey, the palace has enforced a massive no-go zone around the estate. local residents in Windsor have been vocal about their fury, claiming that security detours are forcing neighbors into mile-long diversions just to get to the local Christmas tree shop. Some have even been in tears over the sudden loss of access to their favorite walking paths. But for William and Kate, the cost of the public's frustration is a price they are willing to pay for a home that finally offers them a fresh slate after the trauma of 2024. Forest Lodge isn't just a house, it's a statement of permanence. It signals that the Wales family is no longer waiting for the throne in London. They are building their own kingdom in the forest. And as they settle into this new life, the king himself is making moves that suggest the old guard is fading faster than we think. In fact, Charles's Christmas speech today contained a series of hidden symbols that point to a future no one expected. As the clock struck 3 p.m. today, millions tuned in for what many are calling the most significant broadcast of King Charles's reign so far. But it wasn't just the words that caught people's attention, it was the setting. In a move that completely broke the traditions set by his mother, the king didn't record his message from the comfort of a palace drawing room. Instead, he stood in the Lady Chapel of Westminster Abbey. This choice of location is a massive, symbolic Easter egg. Westminster Abbey is where the king was crowned, but more importantly, it's the site of the shrine of Edward the Confessor, a saint known throughout history as a healer. By standing there, Charles isn't just giving a speech, he's framing his current journey as a pilgrimage. During the address, the king spoke candidly about the physical and mental challenges of the past year. While he framed this as a universal human experience, royal experts are reading between the lines. He used a powerful quote from the poet T.S. Eliot, speaking of the still point of the turning world. It felt less like a standard holiday greeting and more like a man reflecting on his own mortality and the good news of his reduced cancer treatments. But here's the part that has social media buzzing. Throughout the speech, the king repeatedly returned to the theme of journeying forward into the future while learning from the past. In the world of royalty, that's often code for succession. Rumors are reaching a fever pitch that this pilgrimage theme is actually the opening chapter of a 2-year plan to hand over significant powers to Prince William. Some are even calling 2026 the year of the Semi-Regency, where Charles remains king in title, but William takes over the grueling international travel and heavy state duties. And did you catch the subtle nod to his daughter-in-law? Behind the king were Christmas trees that were actually repurposed from Kate's Together at Christmas carol service held earlier this month. It was a silent but undeniable signal of a united front, a new inner circle that is smaller, tighter, and more focused than ever before. But as the king looked into the camera and spoke of reconciliation and peace, many couldn't help but think of the one person who was missing from that vision of unity. Because while the king is focused on his legacy at home, the exile of the Sussexes has reached a heartbreaking new low this Christmas, and the silence from California is louder than any speech could ever be. Would you like me to move on to Section 7, where we dive into the Sussex silence and the heartbreaking new details of Harry's 7-year exile? While the festive bells rang out over Sandringham today, the silence from across the Atlantic was deafening. This Christmas marks a somber milestone, the 7th consecutive year that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been absent from the royal family's inner circle. For a man who once called these traditions the fabric of his life, the distance between Montecito and Norfolk has never felt more permanent. But don't think for a second that the Sussexes spent the day in total isolation. In fact, they made sure the world knew they were creating a new guard of their own. Just days ago, the couple released their 2025 holiday card, not a formal portrait, but a high-definition video showing their foundation's humanitarian work. Some critics are calling it a shadow royal broadcast, released just hours before the king's own speech, to maintain their global relevance. And then there's the photo that has everyone talking. Meghan shared a rare glimpse of Prince Archie, now 6, and Princess Lilibet, 4, standing on a bridge in a vast green wilderness. While it looked like a peaceful family moment, eagle-eyed fans claim to have spotted a Photoshop blunder on Harry's arm, sparking a wave of fresh rumors about the authenticity of their perfect California life. But behind the polished images, there is a much more heartbreaking story unfolding. Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, has made what many believe is his final desperate plea from a hospital bed. After undergoing a life-altering limb amputation earlier this month, the 81-year-old reportedly told friends, "I don't want to die unknown to my grandchildren." Rumors suggest that Meghan, moved by the life-or-death nature of her surgery, may finally be discussing a quiet and private phone call, a Christmas truce that would bridge a gap that has existed since her wedding in 2018. As for Harry, royal experts suggest he's caught in a nostalgic trap. While he reportedly enjoys the relaxed, sun-drenched California holidays, insiders claim he still misses the banter and the pub culture of a British Christmas. There were even whispers that the couple received a warm invitation from the Spencer family to spend the holidays at Althorpe, Princess Diana's ancestral home. By choosing to stay in California, the Sussexes are sending a final message for 2025. The bridge to Sandringham isn't just broken, it's been dismantled. But as one branch of the family tree withers, another is being forced to make a choice that will define the monarchy's survival in the coming year. As the sun sets over the snowy fields of Sandringham this evening, December 25th, 2025, the royal family is settling into a Christmas that feels like the end of one era and the rapid, almost breathless beginning of another. We've seen the smiles, the handshakes, and the traditional walk to church, but if there's one thing we've learned today, it's that the firm is no longer playing by the old rules. The imagery of this year's holiday is impossible to ignore. From King Charles standing in the Lady Chapel of Westminster Abbey, a place of both crowning and final rest, to Kate Middleton wearing the very coat that symbolized her darkest health battles, every moment has been a carefully crafted message. The message? The monarchy is transforming, and it's happening faster than anyone anticipated. 2026 is already being whispered about as the year of the Great Transition. With the King's announcement that he is reducing his treatments, the contingency plans for Prince William to take the lead are no longer just rumors. They are the reality of a family preparing for the inevitable. We are watching the rise of a streamlined four, a tighter, more resilient core that has no room for the scandals of Prince Andrew or the distant drama of the Sussexes. But while the family looks stronger on paper, there's a lingering question that even the most loyal royal fans are asking: at what cost? To protect this new, fragile stability, we've seen friends exiled, neighbors blocked from their walking paths, and siblings separated by oceans of silence. The Fortress of Healing at Forest Lodge might protect the princess's peace, but it also highlights the growing distance between the crown and the public. As the royals finish their 5 p.m. tea and prepare for a night of board games and family time behind high walls, they leave us with a thought-provoking puzzle. Is this new-look monarchy, with its modern duets and focus on resilience, the strongest the institution has ever been? Or is it becoming a smaller, more isolated version of its former self? One thing is certain. By next Christmas, the faces at the Sandringham table may look the same, but the power behind them will have shifted forever. The changing of the guard isn't coming, it's already here. And as the world looks toward 2026, we can only wonder if the pilgrimage King Charles spoke of today will lead to a new golden age, or if the shadows of this year's final Christmas will continue to grow. I have now completed all